Alright, so as I said last time, I was participating in a UU tournament on a Twitch streamer's stream the other day, and the last video I posted was a battle from that tournament, and this is actually the finals of that tournament, so I made it all the way to the finals, and now I bring you the finals. His name was, the channel that I was participating in the UU tournament was called Chartheos, I think, and I will leave the link to his Twitch in the description, and my opponent is named SylveonCupcakes, and we both made the finals, so let's hope that it's a good one. As I previously mentioned, this is a UU tournament, so obviously this is a UU match, and it is going to be sped up a little bit, so let's go ahead and try to have a good one. Regardless, I lead with Darmanitan, and he leads with Beedrill, which is obviously going to Mega Evolve and probably just go for the Protect like most Mega Beedrills do in order to secure their Mega Evolutions, so I am going to switch out into my Gligar, which is fine, and I'm just going to now try to set up my Stealth Rocks, which, looking at his team, he does have a few Pokemon that are weak to Stealth Rocks, not to mention it's always nice to get up early, and the only Pokemon on his team that could possibly get rid of them is his Zapdos. He doesn't have any Pokemon that can Rapid Spin, from what I see, and yeah, so it should be a little bit difficult for him to remove them. So he goes into his Slowking now, which is kind of like the underused brother of Slowbro. Not quite as physically bulky, instead it's specially bulky, which is not quite as good, but that does make him kind of scary when he uses Calm Mind. Fortunately, I do have a special wall / tank in my Curselax here, my Snorlax, my Sowlax. Okay, that's too many names. My Snorlax. We'll just go with my Snorlax, my Curse Snorlax. And I am going to set up a Curse as he goes out into his this thing, Scrafty, and right off the bat I was thinking Dragon Dance, like that the majority of these, but this is actually a pretty interesting Scrafty set, and as you can see, it's actually a bulk up set, and after that bulk up, I'm not really doing a lot of damage. My Snorlax is EV to be especially bulky, not necessarily pure attacker, so I don't think it's adamant. I think it's plus special defense nature. Regardless, I'm just going to my Scyther now, which does have the double resistance to fighting, and as you can see, that Drain Punch did about nothing to me. Now, he obviously can go for a Dark move against me, like a knockoff, and he is going to be able to knock off my Eviolite, which is unfortunate, but at the same time, now that if he doesn't have another Dark move other than that, it's going to be doing reduced damage since I no longer have an item, so it's kind of a double-edged sword either way. He's going to go into a Storm Bird here, predicting now my Aerial Ace, which is my flying move I always wanted to use, and it does take that pretty nicely despite my, Sword Stance, because Zapdos is pretty bulky and the resistance, so I am going to have to switch out. I don't want to take a electric move, so I go out into Gligar as he just goes to the Defog to get rid of my Stealth Rocks. That's fine, because I just actually went into Pokemon that can set them up again, which is fine with me, and I'm not really sure if, unless the thing has like Hidden Power Ice or something, I don't really think it has anything to really hurt my Gligar, so that's fortunate for me. He goes out now back into Scrafty, as I just go for the Toxic. I was actually trying to Toxic the Zapdos, to get the residual damage off on that, since it is a very bulky Pokemon. But he goes back into Scrafty, which is, at the time I was like, okay, I was going to keep it from setting up a bit, so, yeah. Most of the time, Scrafty is, this Scrafty obviously doesn't carry Intimidate, so I was actually thinking it was a Moxie set, which, just makes a lot of sense. But it makes a little bit more sense for the Dragon Dance set. This set is actually, his Scrafty is very interesting, which we'll see in a moment. But yeah, I am going to set up my Stealth Rocks again as he gets a bulk up. I really can't let him get too many of those anyway, so I am going to switch out back into Scyther, which should scare him away. He goes for the knockoff, and it's not going to, actually it does almost have to me. Doesn't quite kill me though, and I do have the Morning Sun, which, is probably a little inferior to Roost. But, YOLO swag. Go for my Morning Sun to get back health. I don't think that he can do more damage than I can heal right now, and yeah, then he surprises me with that. The Shed Skin. I was all for, Toxic Stalling him, basically. And now let us see, it's a Shed Skin set. With, Rest, in fact, so it's a very, very, very interesting set, and, I was not really expecting it. So, yeah. I'm just gonna go now for the Aerial Ace. I know he's gonna just kill me, but I just want to get as much damage on this thing as possible before my Scyther goes down, because this thing is very, very scary, and I just cannot allow it to have HP, when I go into something that I want to revenge kill it with. And I'm not really fearing the Moxie anymore now that I see the Shed Skin, so it's not a huge deal to lose Scyther to it. Regardless, I do go out into Darmanitan now, and I'm just, like I said, I'm going to go for the U-turn. He's probably going to switch to try to save it. If he does, then I can get the U-turn damage and get the safe switch into something that can counter. If not, it would have killed the Scrafty, I think. I am a choice banned Darmanitan, so even despite the, despite the bulk up, so I was pretty confident that I could kill it. So I go out into my Hydreigon, I just go for the Dark Pulse, and yeah, I figure it's going to be stabbed and pretty strong against anything he goes into. He ends up just staying in with Slowking, so I'm able to get the KO on that. So, yeah. He now goes into Blissey, though, which I am locked into Dark Pulse, not to mention I don't really have a move that can really hurt this at all anyway, so I do have to switch out. I go into my Snorlax because I figure this is a very good matchup for me. If he has a special, I mean, I have a ton of HP, so I'm not really afraid of, Seismic Toss or, any kind of special moves, so... Anyway, I know he's gonna go back into this Scrafty now, and I go for the, I predict correctly, and then I get Parahax, because I was going for the, Body Slam to try to, finish this off on the switch, and then he just rests and heals all of that HP back. And to add insult to injury, or, yeah, he ends up getting the Shed Skin this turn as well, so he basically got free recovery this turn, and I have to switch out because this matchup will not go very well for me, since he can also raise his defense and has a super effective move. So I go into my Mega Blastoise, and I do that because most Mega Blastoises will run Aura Sphere, so at this point I'm kind of bluffing the Aura Sphere, and hoping that he would switch out to get rid of those bulk ups. Instead, I just go for the Hydro Pump. I do not actually carry Aura Sphere on this Mega Blastoise, instead carrying the Dragon Pulse and Dark Pulse. I carry Dragon Pulse because of the abundance of Mega Ampharos, as well as Goodra in UU, so yeah, it ends up working out for me here because he does try to predict Aura Sphere going out into Zapdos, and then I just kill it with Hydro Pump. Now, looking at this thing's HP, it's probably, if I was going to make this set, it's probably a bit specially bulky, but I'm hoping that at this point, Hydro Pump can 2-hit KO, and looking at that damage, if I can just hit with another Hydro Pump, I should be able to take this thing out, and I hope that it can't get another rest. So I go for another Hydro Pump, and I do hit. I got pretty lucky there with 3 straight Hydro Pump hits, but you know what? That Parahax earlier that I was going to kill this thing anyway, I don't feel bad at all. So anyway, he goes out into Beedrill, Mega Beedrill, and I really don't want to take anything from this. I just go into Gligar, which pretty much can resist any of its moves, and obviously be a physical tank, so I feel pretty confident about Gligar walling this Mega Beedrill, despite its amazing attack stats. And he's just going to go ahead and do U-turn and go out now into Metagross. I don't actually carry Earthquake on my Gligar. I carry Rock Slide as my attacking move. So I am going to switch out now into Darmanitan because I figure he's going to probably try to go for the Meteor Mash or Ice Punch. And yeah, he ends up just going for the Meteor Mash and critting me, which, like, why is it doing so... Oh, wow, that was a ton of damage. Is it banded? No, it's crit. And as you can see, it is actually Choice Scarf Metagross, which is actually pretty scary. It nearly kills me thanks to that crit, but not today, sir. I just get the Flare Blitz off. Unfortunately, I will go down, but I'm able to take out the Mega Metagross. Sorry, not Mega Metagross. Just regular old Metagross. This is UU, after all. I don't know if yeah. Just regular Metagross, guys. Regardless, I switch out into Hydreigon now. He goes out into Beedrill, and now I'm just going to go black into Geiger, because I probably could have outsped since I am Scarf, but I just don't risk it. I go into Gligar to take whatever this thing can do, and he is going to switch out into Blissey again, and well, Cancer Mode activated, guys. His last 2 Pokemon are Beedrill and Blissey. Now, his Beedrill really can't do anything to Gligar, and the best that my Gligar can do to this Chansey is Toxicate. Now, sometimes these Blisseys will not carry Aromatherapy. That's what I'm hoping for right now. Sometimes they won't carry it in order to carry, another support move, because most of the time these Blisseys end up being, Natural Cure instead of a Serene Grace. Especially looking at, the fact that he had Seismic Toss. I was thinking that it was a Natural Cure set, so he might not have Aromatherapy. So I'm kind of hoping that I can Toxic Stall this thing out with my Gligar. It ends up being the case that this is an Aromatherapy set. So I'm obviously not going to be able to do much work with Gligars, and I have to go out into my... I have to fight Fat with Fat, basically, and go out into my Snorlax, so I can set up some... curses to eventually overpower this Blissey, and of course his Beedrill as well, but yeah, at this point, I pretty much have won the match, unless he gets, like, some major hacks, which he can't crit me with Seismic Toss. Like, unless he gets, like, Parahexes out the wazoo with my Snorlax. In fact, I probably could have stalled out with Gligar in the end anyway. But I'm not really sure. It would have taken forever, that's why I switched. Regardless, yeah, that's the plan, and this turn you will see it does have Aromatherapy, and I will go into Snorlax, and the rest of the match is basically me trying to set up enough curses to outmaneuver this Blissey. It's like half the match, it really is. But it was definitely a very good match prior to this. This was kind of stallerific, but yeah, I feel confident at this point that I pretty much won, unless he gets like unless he get Parahacks pretty much every turn. Like I'm gonna obviously rest when I feel like I'm gonna rest at like 100 and when I get below 100 HP, which will give me like 2 turns not to get Parahaxed, or actually 3 turns not to get Parahaxed, so I can get off the rest, and then it'll basically be a good game. At this point, I'm just setting up curses, and I'm kind of seeing how much Body Slam will do. You know what? Let's just go into today's question of the day. Sorry to spoil it for you. Eventually, I'm able to overpower this Blissey. My Snorlax is just pounding this Blissey. I know how that sounds. My male Snorlax is pounding it against this female Blissey. But yeah, let's just go into today's question today. Let's just forget everything I just said. Today's question of the day is this. Tell me a story about your first Pokemon competitive battle, or like a battle against another person, and how it went. It's up to you to decide what is competitive. Obviously, when I was a kid, with my little link cable, I battled probably a lot of my friends with, these on IV Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon, and, it would probably just go down to my level 100 Charizard, either being swept by a stupid Blastoise or something. You know how it goes. But, your first actual competitive battle, now, back in Gen 3, I did peruse Net Battle Line, which was the online battling simulator at the time, and my first team, because I had this in my mind of a Ninjask Baton Passer, which, was a pretty hyped thing. It's kind of what Ninjask does, but I made a whole team, just with Ninjask Baton Pass, and I would later try this team, because a bit in Gen 4, with Rhyperior, when that came out, I'm like, oh my god, and stuff like that. But, yeah, I really liked Ninjask. Bugs are my favorite type. And, it went pretty poorly. I'm not gonna lie. I eventually got a little bit better at Gen 3, as I continued to play Net Battle. But, remember my first battle, I got wrecked by a priority move. And, that was that. My Ninjask died, and, my team of slow but powerful physical Pokemon just ended up getting swept by this one guy's Suicune, and I was like, wow, I have a lot to learn. And he gave me a few tips, and yeah, probably just stay away from the gimmick teams a bit, And I learned a bit about team building from him. It was all pretty cool, but I thought that would be a fun little question today. Since I do have all this time to wait while we see this Snorlax defeat this Chansey, I decided to give that little story. I guess it's not that great of a story, but it is what I would consider my first competitive... I guess it wasn't that competitive, but it was my first attempt at being competitive. So leave a comment about that. I would like to see your stories. How did it go? Did you win? Did you lose? Did you get destroyed? Did you destroy? Did your opponent know what he was doing? I assume most of you probably lost. I hope that my story is not unique, because that made me feel kind of bad. If all you guys are like, oh yeah, I was a prodigy right from the start, all that stuff. I would hope that's not the case, because then I would just have to feel, yeah, like I said, bad. Alright, so, back to this battle. I did finally get off that rest, so now I'm pretty much free to Body Slam into oblivion basically everything else. Like I said, this Blissey does go down, and his last Pokemon is his Mega Beedrill. Now that I have some curses, obviously, I do not fear anything this thing can do. So I'm just going for a Drill Run. I'm not really sure. He could have went for a stabbed move. Maybe he doesn't have one. I don't know. He has Protect, Drill Run, U-Turn. I guess what was he carrying? What's his last move? Maybe it was sludge. It had to be, not sludge bomb. That's special, isn't it? Um, yeah, but it had to be poison jab. Maybe I don't know. Probably should have went for poison jab or whatever that other move was. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you like what you saw, rate, comment, subscribe. As I said, I will have the link to the Twitch channel that I participated in this Wi-Fi tournament in the description. Go ahead and check him out. He does quite a few of these tournaments, and yeah, thanks for the battle, SylveonCupcakes, and see you guys again next time. I hope. Rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.